Welcome to the Voice of Retail. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc. This podcast is brought to you in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada. On this snapshot episode, we meet Sara Cullen, founder and CEO of GEM, a female-forward nutrition company on a mission to design a simpler, healthier future, starting by creating an entirely new kind of daily multivitamin. Sara tells us she built a small but enthusiastic beta set of customers from which she has launched a direct-to-customer brand heading to retail.
I initially started with a beta group of customers on a very simple platform called Facebook groups. And that's where we initially seeded the product, the prototypes, and got feedback. And, this is something that was interesting to people. And that group ended up being, our evangelists and our early adopters.
Let's listen in. Sara, welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining me. I'm excited to learn more about you and your business. So let's jump right in. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your company and a bit of your background, how you got to where you are and what you do today.
Yeah, so my name is Sara Cullen. I am the founder and CEO of GEM. We are a consumer life science company creating new technologies for your health. We started by reimagining the idea of a supplement with whole food. So our first product is an alternative to the multivitamin. It's a real whole food bite made of plants, herbs, and algae that deliver all of your nutrition that you need, shipped conveniently to your door. And this company was really inspired by my own health experiences and frustrations with trying to fill the gaps in my diet and not finding the cleanest or the most efficient solutions for me. So I decided to build my own.
I often find there's this intersection of the personal and professional in the health sciences and in the foods and ingestibles, right? That there's you find a problem that's connected to you personally, and you go out and you use your skills and background to solve it. It sounds exactly like what you've done, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Under the simple premise that food is medicine, decided to try to go out and make that a reality.
Now, this is, when we think about, and you're going to be on the virtual stage at CommerceNext, and CommerceNext is less about a product focus and more about this idea of how you go to market and tell us about today how you go to market. How do people find your product? Are you in retail? Are you direct to consumer? Give us a bit of sense about that.
Yeah, so we've been in market for a little over 2 years, and it's been all direct to consumer. So we are online, and that's the only way that you can purchase is through our website. And we offer subscriptions, so monthly memberships that are flexible. You can cancel or swap flavors anytime. We're looking to roll out some new products soon and continue to expand our suite of health solutions for you. And then also later this year, we'll be looking to grow our omnichannel presence and go into retail. So some exciting newness ahead.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, it used to be the case, and I cut my teeth as a retailer in a bunch of different verticals, but one of them was kind of as seen on TV. And where I'm going with that is there was a natural evolution that products would start on TV and then go online later and then go into stores. Was this always in your mind as part of the evolution, or did you say, well, let's start DTC and build customer base and build brand, and then we'll go into stores that kind of, tell me about your thinking about that. Was it always the point of arrival?
Certainly. It's a really good question. We knew we always wanted to start direct to consumer because we wanted to really understand who our customer is and try to, be as close as possible to them. But the plan for scale truly is on the retail front. And in order to expand our audience and reach more people, we've always thought about retail as kind of the next step. But even, when I first started GEM, I initially started with a beta group of customers on a very simple platform called Facebook groups. And that's where we initially seeded the product, the prototypes, and got feedback. And, this is something that was interesting to people. And that group ended up being, our evangelists and our early adopters, and have become the word of mouth generators as well for our business. And so I am a big believer in trying to build the product with the customer at the heart and center of it. And so that you can do that, and online gives you that flexibility to do that, I think the better.
How do you take me through that a little bit, that last part about, getting feedback, and when you have an ingestible nutrient product, how do people give you the feedback? It makes me feel better. I like the taste. Like, what are the moving parts of feedback that you then take back to the lab, so to speak, and innovate? What are those kind of moving parts?
Yeah, really great question. It's certainly a lot, more difficult, I think, with a food product than with like a tool that maybe you could legally iterate on in a faster way. But for us, it was, really understanding the kind of the average deficiencies and the common pitfalls within people's health journeys and what they were looking to solve that they weren't able to find the current market today. So a lot of that was just understanding, what was happening with people, where they wanted to feel better, and then adjusting the formula to meet those needs. Then also on the flavor front, making sure that we're building a product. It's not a snack in the end, so it's not a candy, it's not a pill, it's not a powder. It's a whole food format, and we use 13 whole food ingredients and seeds and dried fruits and different herbs. And so we want to make sure that we combine those in a way that was very powerful and efficient for your body, but also tasted delicious. So a lot of iteration on the flavor front as well.
Great. And that health outcome, or that better feeling outcome, certainly takes a few weeks, right? I'm sure you don't tell people that's an overnight result. So it takes some time, right? It takes some time to.
Yeah, it's really about building healthy habits, and it can take, depending on kind of where you are, you might notice a difference in a couple of weeks, or it might take 2 months. And that's where, building a healthy habit with consistency and taking it every day and making sure you're getting your nutrition is where you really start to see the results.
Right, so to speak, and it really truly applies, this holistic approach, right? We often say that in other verticals, but in your case, it really does apply, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Quite literally.
Yeah, quite literally. Right on. All right. So you're at CommerceNext, and I'm asking everyone these questions around 2 starts and 1 stop. And the idea is to help listeners get a sense of your expertise around going to market and things that if they're not doing today, they should probably start. And again, based on your experience, both as you see it in the past year and as you see it going forward. And then one thing they should probably stop doing if they're doing it today, and something maybe you used to do, and it doesn't need to be negative, but it can be, well, we used to do this in terms of acquiring customers, but we found something else was more effective. Give me a sense of how you think about this. I have 2 starts and 1 stop.
Great. Well, I guess building on our conversation, my first start would be to really collect as much customer data as possible in the first year and get to know your customer as well as possible. And so beyond surveys for us, that's turned into actually building a customer advisory board. So we've actually taken some of our, we've actually created an application where customers can apply, our biggest fans, if you will, and have created an advisory board where we check in with them every month and get a pulse on, how their journey's been going with GEM and what they want to see more from us, or what do they want to learn? What kind of science are they looking for to support them? And so forming a customer advisory board and kind of going above and beyond the data collection for customers, I think is a big start for all brands, particularly starting out. The second one is exploring retail partnerships that are really, we as a company, we're disrupting this category of supplements, and we're trying to turn it into a food aisle. And so we are looking at retail partners who are supportive of that kind of customer discovery aspect and have that same lens of disruption as we do. And so I think the more that you can think about your retail partners, just like you do investing partners, and start to build relationships with them, so that you can, find the right fit when you do go into that channel. I think that's really important, and that's something that we've been doing. So I recommend starting to build those retail relationships earlier on, and not just going out for a blitz potentially on the
yeah, it's not taking the pitch deck out to 100 pitches in a day, right? I guess you've probably, I'm sure,
strategic and really, mapping out your retail strategy based off of that customer data and your own product value propositions, I think is really important.
Yeah, it's a savvy approach, because you're bringing retailers data, actual data versus projected data or research data that is actual feedback, right? And I guess I don't want to hang too much on it, but I guess it is, for retailers, they got to get their heads around whenever you say you're creating or changing a new category, their first thing is, okay, where do you fit Are you in the vitamin aisle? Are you in the food aisle? And I guess those are the conversations
that's a really tough conversation for us, particularly as a company, because we can sit in so many different places. You could consider us a functional food or in the supplement aisle, or even though we're a shelf stable product, we could be in the refrigerated section. And so I think really having an understanding of your customer data and where they would be shopping for you and the type of retailers and what their, outlook and vision is, then you can find the right place for you and you can help kind of dictate that strategy and be proactive.
What should the listeners stop doing?
Oh, well, I have a lot of learnings, but I think I would sum it up by the biggest thing to stop is to stop focusing on the what and start focusing on the why. And it's really easy, I think, in the early days to just get kind of stuck in describing kind of what you're doing or what you're building and forgetting the bigger why behind it. And the sooner that you can get to that why, I think the better you'll be in building a stronger company.
Well, it sounds like you that's predicated on that understanding your product ladder, right? The technical, the functional, and then the emotional benefits and your point of arrival. We've touched on that a couple of times, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. So you're on the virtual stage at CommerceNext. Tell us a little bit about what you'll be talking about.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be a part of CommerceNext. We'll be doing a fireside chat and have a dynamic conversation about all things GEM and how we launch the brand and how we're looking to grow and scale in the future. And hopefully it's valuable to everyone. And I'm hope to, share some of my own advice and learnings along the way.
Well, I think a lot of people are very interested, regardless of what they sell, in the subscription model and the learning and the iteration. And it sounds like that's really your DNA, so to speak, your genesis, right, is understanding those things. So it's great information to impart. One question for you I didn't ask. This is, where is your product available? Right now it's available in all states in America. Is it available outside the United States? What and how's that? Yeah,
so we are only available to the United States at this time, and you can find us at dailygem.co, and you can place your order and we'll ship anywhere in the United States.
Great to hear the story. It's so interesting. I'll be keen to tune in and hear the rest of the story coming up. And I want to thank you for being on the Voice Retail Podcast. Great to meet you.
So much, Michael.
Today's podcast is part of an ongoing series of CommerceNext episodes that will feature some of the fantastic speakers taking the virtual stage January 20th, 27th, and February 3rd with snapshot insights into how they dealt with the online and e-commerce world in their first year of the COVID era and lessons learned for the future. You can learn more and register for CommerceNext at CommerceNext.com. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of The Voice of Retail. Be sure and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on the latest episodes, industry news, and all the insights. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a rating and review, as it really helps us grow so that we can continue to get amazing guests onto the show. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc, president of LeBlanc Company Inc. And if you are looking for more content or want to chat, follow me on LinkedIn or visit my website at meleblanc.co. Until next time, stay safe and have a great week.